Hey everyone, it's Jason. Today we have the next hero pack for Marvel Champions. So we have the Wasp. And if you have watched my videos, you've seen I've already done Ant-Man. And they go together, kind of. I say, it's what they're started to do with the, I guess, like Series 2 or Season 2 or however you want to call it. That started with the Rise of the Red Skull box set. They were trying to release heroes sort of in a pair that complemented or worked with each other. That's why they had Hawkeye and Spider-Woman in a set. So they're kind of like a pair together. And then they released AntMan and Wasp. And they actually have cards that work together that you need like one of the other characters to use. And then the next set was Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. Scarlet Witch is not out yet. And then I guess Series 3 or Season 3 or however you want to look at it. She's standing on a gun. There we go. Then that one starts the next campaign set, which has Guardians of the Galaxy, which has Rocket and Groot, who are usually a pair. And then the next two characters that they've announced are Star-Lord and Gamora. Assuming that means they'll probably add another two, which I would imagine will be Drax and one other Guardians character, but I'm not sure who that might even be. But yeah, that's kind of what they're doing. So here we have there's a bunch of new stuff in here. So Wasp Hero Pack, we have foldable cards, which we'll get to. She has a new keyword called piercing. And it might have been in one of the other sets. It's not necessarily new to specifically her, but it's new being it's not part of the main set. So it's an attack with the piercing keyword, discards any tough status damage cards before dealing damage. So it actually gets rid of that tough card, then it still does the damage, versus the tough negating all the damage. And there's some rule clarifications and the aggression. Alright, so let's hop into the deck. So what was interesting about Marvel Champions in general, and then the Wasp and Ant-Man, is for the most part, Marvel just let the creators of the Champions just do whatever they wanted. I shouldn't say just do whatever they wanted. No, I can't get this plastic open. But pick what heroes they wanted and kind of pick and choose, and like in versions of which hero they were using. They didn't really. I'm sure they probably were. If you look at the except for a couple of the base ones like She-Hulk, I think really probably She-Hulk's the only one so far. But I think all the other characters are like currently in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They're trying to stick with that. So when it came to Ant-Man and Wasp, most people would know Ant-Man and Wasp as being Hank Pym and Janet Van Dyne. The two most iconic Ant-Man and Wasp characters. But for this game, they ended up having to do Nadia Van Dyne, and for Ant-Man, they did Scott Lang, who are the ones that are in the movies. And I think they did it, one, to play on the fact that, because it's the movies and people might recognize them that way. I think the other reason why they did it is because Hank Pym Ant-Man has also been Giant Man. He's been Yellow Jacket. He's been Ultron Pym. Like, he's had a bunch of different versions. So I think if they wanted to just have a character that was only Ant-Man, Ant-Man / Giant Man, that's why they used Scott Lang. And then I think sort of the same way with Nadia Van Dyne. They wanted to just pick a new one because Janet Van Dyne's been so many different things. Plus, I feel like they're going to maybe put those two as like the regular main ones. They probably put them in a box. They are in the decks though. They're allies. So it's not like you don't get to play as them. They just had the heroes focused on the new ones. So right away we have Nadia Van Dyne. Alter Ego, she's a genius. She has Girl, Action. Shuffle 2 cards, up to 2 cards with printed Tech or Genius resource from your discard pile into your deck. Limit once per round. Girl is dedicated to finding brilliant women who will not only save the world but change it. So that's kind of nice. You can get back cards that you've used, so it benefits you to try and use them quick, or use them as much as you can. Has a hand size of 6 with 11 hit points. Then if we flip over to the Wasp, of course she's not going to have high stats. She's Wasp, she's tiny. So 1, 1, and 2. And Avengers, tiny. Small but mighty. Response. After Wasp or an event you play defeats a minion or a side scheme, deal 1 damage to the villain. You should learn to play nice. So she loses 1 hand size for going smaller, because she goes from a 6 to 5. But what the triple fold cards are, so this is what's neat with if you saw Ant-Man, is they flip open. So now she has her giant form. So she's still called Wasp. Even this Ant-Man one, when he goes giant, they still call him Ant-Man. They don't change him to Giant Man. And I think it's just for aesthetic reasons, because that way if you have a card that references that character, it's still referencing this particular card rather than another one. But then her stats go 2, 2, and 3, so that'll go up 1 with just some stars there. So she has giant Avengers, giant threat. When threat you remove using basic thwart power, thwart can be divided amongst schemes as you choose. Damage you deal using your basic attack power can be divided amongst enemies as you choose. You're also tiny and cute. So she keeps her 5 hand size, depending on which form she's on, so that's kind of nice. But then what's also neat is, because, yeah, she can spread out, it's only 2 and 2, so she can do like 2 to one guy, or 1 to 1, 1 to another, or however she wants to do it. But if you boost it with various other cards, that can definitely be pretty crazy. The other interesting thing about this is this version, like they made this version, and I don't know if it ended up being this way or not, but like this card was printed and designed before she appeared as a giant character in any of the comic books. I don't know if it was actually that way by the time it got released, but that's definitely an interesting thing. So they're like, Marvel's like, here, we know she's going to become a giant character, use this artwork. So that's cool. There's Wasp. Let's look at her character-specific deck. So we know she has stuff that uses genius cards, and we know she has stuff that does with thwarting. So that'll be her 2 things. So she gets an ally. Her signature ally is Ant-Man Scott Lang, and Ant-Man Scott Lang was the exact opposite. He had Nadia Van Dyne. She has 2 thwart, 2 attack, Avenger. When you are in giant hero form, Ant-Man gains the giant trait and gains +1 attack. When you are in tiny hero form, Ant-Man gains tiny and gains 1 thwart. So they kind of work in tandem together. They both go giant, or they can both go small. So that's pretty cool. Now, what would happen though is if somebody else is playing Ant-Man, you're not allowed to play this card on the field. You still use it for its resource, but you can't actually play it onto the table. So that's sort of the one downside about having. There's a couple of heroes now that have like overlapping. Like I think it's Captain Marvel and Black Widow. I think that's who it is, or Captain Marvel and Spider-Woman, I believe. They overlap each other too now, and they're gonna keep coming across heroes as we add more and more heroes. It's gonna keep happening. Scarlet Witch, Quicksilver are the same way. I don't know if Rocket and Groot will be the same way. I imagine they probably will. But all it means is you might potentially have one semi-dead character card in your hand, but you can always use them for a wild resource. So that's not too bad. Giant Help. Thwart. Hero action. Remove 3 threat from a scheme. Remove a total of 4 threat divided amongst the schemes you choose instead if you're a giant. So she gets bonuses for being giant. Lets you eliminate more threats at once. It's always helpful. And it's also a genius card, so she can use her power to get that back right away. Pinpoint Strike. Attack. Hero action. Deal 7 damage to an enemy. If you are tiny hero form, this attack deals 1 additional damage to that enemy and gains overkill. Oh, that's crazy. So overkill means if it does 7 damage, so it does 8 damage, if they only have 5 hit points, the other 3 can go to the, oh, I want to say mastermind. It goes to the main villain. So if like you hit a minion, you can send the rest to a mastermind. So it basically I can do 7 damage straight to or even 8 damage to the actual main bad guy, the main villain, or I could take out a minion and spread that extra damage over, which is actually pretty helpful. She's got 3 of those, and they're also genius. Rapid growth, giant superpower, hero interrupt. When you use one of your hero's basic powers, fort, attack, or defense, change to your giant hero form and gain +2 that power for this use. Okay, so that's what's crazy with her ability then. Is she automatically, she can be Tiny Wasp, she can play this card, switch over to Giant, and then she has her 2, plus she gets an extra 2, so she has 4 points that she can spread out, unless she's using defense. She still gets 4 points though, which is definitely helpful. Wasp Sting, attack. If you are in Giant form, deal 4 total damage amongst enemies you choose. If you're in Tiny form, deal 5 damage to an enemy. Oh, so that's pretty cool. So you get, depending on which size you are, either you can do 4 spread out or just a straight up 5, and that's also another genius. So there's lots of those. So then we're also going to get Pim Particles, which I believe Ant-Man also had. Special resource card. Hero response. After you spend this card, heal 2 damage to your hero. If you're in Giant form, you draw 1 card. Or draw 1 card if you are in Tiny form. So depending on if you need to heal or you need to draw cards, pick which form you want to use when you use it. You get 2 of those. And then she has Red Room Training. Still, when you are in Giant Hero form, you gain Retaliate 1, so when you're attacked, you do 1 damage automatically back. When you're in Tiny form, you get your basic attacks gain Piercing. Nice. That's an upgrade. The Biosynthetic Wings upgrade, which reminds me of Stinger a lot, which is Cassie Lang, Ant-Man's, Scott Lang, Ant-Man's daughter, just with the wings like that. Wasp gains the aerial trait. Interrupt. When you would take any amount of damage, if you're in Tiny form, exhaust biosynthetic wings to prevent 1 of that damage. That could be very helpful. Very specific though, because you'd have to be in that form. And then Wasp's Helmet. Armor Tech. When you are in Giant, gain 1 fort. When you are Tiny, gain 1 attack. Alright, so that's hers. So yeah, a lot of playing around, flipping between the 3 different forms. Which I like. Those heroes, I think, are really fun. When you get that, where you really have to be flipping between their different forms, and it's not just, oh, I need to flip back to the alter ego side because I need to heal. You know, but like they give you reasons to want to flip between the different ones because she gains, you know, she needs to do higher amounts of attack, go Tiny. She needs to spread it out, go Giant. So it makes it kind of cool. Alright, and then her aggression card, so her sub deck, is we get a Thor, we get Jane Foster, so that's awesome. We get another Asgard and Avenger response. After you played Thor from your hand, deal 2 damage to a villain, deal 3 damage instead if you pay using a Mike resource. You want to eat my hammer? And by all means, take a big bite. Yeah, cool. Yeah, Jane Foster, Thor, be interesting. You throw that in the Thor deck as well. And that you can play them separately because, although they both say Thor, one is Thor Odinson and one is Thor Jane Foster. So as long as they have different. Same reason why Wasp can have Wasp in her deck, because it's Janet Van Dyne Wasp. Cost 0, which is great. 3 attack, but no health, as you can see. So, Aerial Avenger. Wasp gets 1 hit point for each Pim counter on her. Interrupt. When Wasp enters play, place 1 Pim counter on her to a maximum of 3 for each energy resource you overpaid Wasp cost. So basically, if you pay her for free using nothing, she's going to come into play and then go away. If you can pay up to 3 of the energy resources, she can have up to 3 health. So it's kind of nice because you can, how much do you need her out there? How much do you need a quick blocker? Do you need a beefier character? And it kind of plays on the idea of like, if you pay 1, she's kind of like tiny flying wasp. If you pay 2, maybe she's regular size. You pay 3, but she's giant size. She's gonna last longer. Kind of that idea. That's definitely a neat idea. Throw that in your deck with someone that uses lots of energy. I'm thinking Captain Marvel, who has her extra resource card that gives you 2 energy. Here we have Into the Fray with Thor and Savage She-Hulk. So a different She-Hulk than we're able to play. Attack, hero action. Deal 6 damage to a minion. For each point of excessive damage dealt by this attack, remove 1 threat from the main scheme. Boy, Wasp is, with her cards here, are all about dealing massive damage and removing threats. It's pretty crazy. Surprise attack. Good old Daredevil. Old Hornhead. Hero response. After you change form, deal 3 damage to an enemy. 4 instead if you pay for this using a might resource. Yeah, and again, with AntMan Wasp, where they want to keep flopping around, a card like this is really helpful. You can definitely see that'd be great in other decks. You have Power of Aggression, which we're familiar with. If you've seen all the other ones, doubles the resources when paying for an aggression card. We have a location. We have a boot camp. We don't have a lot of locations. Play under any player's control, max 1 per player. Each ally you control gains 1 attack. You call that push-up? My grandmother does better push-ups. Yeah, just giving allies +1. Be fun to play this card with someone that's using leadership. You get 3 of them, which I think... I know they usually give you 3 of everything for the decks, so you can help build whatever you want. But I honestly, I think if I was going to customize, I'd probably drop this down to 1. Because it'd be really hard to get out 3. And then lying wait. Preparation. Max 1 per player. Hero response. After a minion engages with you, discard lying wait. Deal 3 damage to that minion. That's kind of cool. You just play it and leave it sit there. And then as soon as a minion engages with you, you can take them out. Take out that arch nemesis right away. Alright, then we have the basic cards. So we get Ironheart, Riri Williams. 1 thwart, 1 attack, 2 cost, and 2 health. She's a champion. I think we've seen champions before. Response. After you play Ironheart from your hand, draw 1 card. I'm totally going to be like Tony Stark, except for that weird facial hair. So, that's definitely also interesting, and it's just neat to, just to see the new characters, different characters too. But we're also got 3 new, including Wasp, we got 4 new females, which is always nice. So, like a female-centric deck. And I bet if I went back and looked at Ant-Man, because it's probably all gods, because I know he has a giant man in there. He has Hank Pym, Ant-Man, and probably like 1 other guy. Not that, not there's anything wrong, whatever. Just interesting to see that, like they made the guy and girl version of Ant-Man, Giant Man characters, and then like the one has all men, one has all girls. Gets you more diversity. Basic card plus she's genius tech too, so that can get recycled. Oh, I lied. We have a male character. Right after I just say all that, then I show a male character. Spider-Man, we have Miles Morales. So it'd be cool. You could team up Spider-Man. Miles and Peter. Another champion. Response. After you play Spider-Man from your hand, choose thwart or attack. Spider-Man gets +2 to the chosen power till the end of turn. Interesting. I needed him just like that, and none of the rest of it mattered. Just as I was thinking we had a champion before, I thought Miles was in a different deck. Alright, so this is an interesting new card concept they came up with. Swarm Tactics is a team-up ability. So AntMan Wasp, max 1 per deck. Hero action, change to your other hero form, ready your hero. So how team-ups work is whoever's deck this in has to be playing one of these two characters. Has to be playing a character named Wasp, or a character named Ant-Man, or a character named Wasp. So that's why there's one of these in Ant-Man's deck and one in Wasp's. Then to use this card, you have to have both of these characters on the field. So what that means is I could be playing Ant-Man and my buddy player 2 could be playing Wasp, and then we can both use our team up cards because we meet both conditions. Or if I'm playing Ant-Man and another player's playing Iron Man and he doesn't have a Wasp in his deck still, I do have Wasp. I could substitute a Wasp into my deck because she's the aggression hero. So that's what's actually kind of neat about that. Because I would have Ant-Man in my main one, and you could also add like the extra Wasp, or extra Ant-Man from the regular cards. So you can build it so you can do it yourself, or you can just team up with another player playing that. And then Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver have a card like this as well. And I think Groot and Rocket will probably have one. But yeah, it's a nice way to be able to attack or do whatever, then play this card and be able to do it a second time. So we got our Energy, Genius, and Strength resources, which every deck has. We have a new resource, which is interesting. The Power in All of Us. Max 2 per deck, double the number of resources it generates when paying for a basic card. So this is like the red one, which I can't remember the name of it now, even though I've seen it a bazillion times. Power of Aggression. And they have like Power of Justice and Power of leadership and all that for each color. Now they made one for the basic cards, which is pretty cool. And then we have a Queen Carrier. Avengers vehicle. Play only if your identity has the Avengers trait. Exhaust Queen character to generate a wild resource. And this is also a Genius card, so she can reuse it. Alright, then we have her obligation, the Red Dreams. Give to the Nadia Van Dyne player. You may flip to the alter ego form. Choose. Exhaust Nadia Van Dyne. Remove Red Dreams from the game. Or discard each card with a printed Genius resource from your hand and take 1 damage. Discard this obligation. Ooh, boy. This is definitely almost seems like unless you have no resources, I'd probably almost every time just exhaust. Alright, and then we have our Nemesis. We have Mother's Orders. Mother has sent one of her most devious henchmen after Wasp, hoping to recapture Red Room escapee. As an additional cost for each hero to make a basic attack, that hero must spend 1 of any resource. Oh boy, she attacks a lot, so that could be bad. So we get to play against the Beetle, and this is definitely interesting because it's a female Beetle, not the Abe Jenkins Beetle, who usually fights Spider-Man. Criminal, she has Guard. Force Interrupt. When Beetle is defeated, choose to either spend a Might resource or shuffle Beetle back into the encounter deck. So probably, her dodging ability. Not very strong, but 4 health and Guard can definitely make that a difficult card to deal with. And then she has some Beetle Armor Mark IV. Attach the Beetle if able. If you cannot, attach it to the villain. Attached character gets 4 hit points. Ugh, why can't I ever find anything around here? Janice Lincoln, who is the Beetle. I'm not familiar with her, so that's all I know is what I'm reading. Beetle Mania, when revealed, Alter Ego. This card gains Surge. Oh boy. If they're the hero, the Beetle attacks with an attack +1. If no attack was made this way, this card gains Surge. I was waiting for this moment to arise. And you got 2 of them. And of course we have the Stop. And then the deck list. Alright, and then we have the last 4 cards. We have our extra cards for the other types. Why can't I think of what they're called? I want to say aspirations, but that's not correct. Anyhow, we have justice. Running interference. Thwart. Play only if your identity has the Avenger's trait. Remove 2 threats from the main scheme. Remove X additional threats from the main scheme up to a maximum of 3, where X is equal to the number of the villain's stage. Oh, that could be super helpful. Little Black Widow on there. Will probably work nice in hers. We have All for One with Captain America. Attack. Deal 3 damage to an enemy and exhaust any number of Avenger characters you control. Deal 1 additional damage to the enemy for each character is exhausted this way. And definitely the leadership where you can have more characters. That's great. So it's like, so far they're Avenger heavy cards. Perseverance with Daredevil. Tactic. After you change form, give your hero a tough status card. You do know the front door is unlocked, right? Spider-Man. That's super powerful protection card. Especially if you change forms a lot, because then it just gives them a tough so they can't take damage right away. And then we have a basic. We have athletic conditioning, which I'm guessing this is Nadia Van Dyne and Scott Lang. I almost said Scott Pym for some reason. Action card. Discard 1 stun or confused status card from your hero. Don't worry, the ring in your ears will go away eventually. So this probably isn't one you maybe want to throw in every deck, but I could definitely see you like having it like sideboarded essentially, and then be like, okay, we're playing against, like Claw. I'm not for sure, but I don't remember. But like Claw does a lot of stunning and confusing. I'm pretty sure he does. You maybe want to work this in there. Or if you have a hero that causes you to be stunned or confused, I want to say Hulk does stuff like that, but I'm not for sure. Alright, but there we go. That is the Wasp. So now we can team her up with Ant-Man. Oh, I can't. I keep trying to open this the wrong direction. Giant form, tiny form. Yeah, mix and match our cards, see what else we get. Alright, see you guys in the next video. Bye.